What's going on, everybody? My name is C4. Welcome back to the channel. And as voted on by you guys, our newest Madden 24 realistic rebuild is going to be the Vegas Raiders, where we're going to go through 5 seasons, use some realistic college draft classes, and try to turn this thing around. The first piece of business that we did is I promoted and made Antonio Pierce our head coach. The last time the Raiders had an interim head coach, it was Rich Bisaccia. Probably should have got the job. Maybe, as special teams coach, it's a big leap. But today's NFL, it's like, get a head coach. If you're not going to get one of the rare head coaches like your Shanahans, like your McVays, that have this scheme with them, get a leader, get a CEO type, and have a good offensive and good defensive coordinator. And I feel like you went with Bisaccia, who had the team playing good football. You gave him good coordinators. I guarantee you the Raiders wouldn't be as down bad as they were at the exact moment they fired Josh McDaniels. Josh McDaniels, terrible. That was arguably as bad as like the Cliff Kingsbury head coach hire that I've seen in quite some time. So we're going to go ahead, give Antonio Pierce the head coaching job. And I think even, this is obviously a rebuild in Madden fantasy land. But I think in real life, if you give him like an offensive coordinator, the type of offensive coordinator that's probably going to get a head coaching opportunity 2-3 years, get him a really good OC, it could absolutely work out. Taking a look at the offense. Well, on the offensive line, I'm going to say maybe the left-hand side, Miller, Parham, and James. We can work with that. Right-hand side, we're going to need to, furnish this at some point, either in free agency or the draft. They got Michael Mayer, 74 hidden dev, one of the best value picks from last year's draft class. Jacoby Myers, Hunter Renfrow, Devontae Adams is still one of the best wide receivers in the league. I think we got to figure out what we're going to do with Renfrow. I think since Antonio Pierce has been the head coach, they're utilizing him a little bit. He's pretty much phased out of the offense with Josh McDaniels. There's no sense because that is as patriot of a player that you could get in for a scheme. He is expensive, so if we can't facilitate, really what it's going to come down to is the fact that, Renfrow and Myers are getting paid decent money. And if this is a scheme that can't facilitate having 3 receivers, like if this is something where, like, no matter what we do, our third wide receivers get like 600 yards, I'd rather a cheap wide receiver. I'd rather, just Trey Tucker or something like that versus someone expensive. But, I mean, my plan right now is to just roll with all 3 of these guys for the time being. Josh Jacobs in the backfield. Now, we're going Raiders offense, Raiders defense, just default playbooks because Josh Jacobs absolutely, I think there's an argument he made. He is top 3 sim running back in Madden franchise mode. I think it's him, Saquon Barkley, and Derrick Henry. Like, those guys just put up ridiculous, like, MVP offensive player of the year type numbers. So our offense is going to run through Josh Jacobs, who, once we get over the team previews here, our first piece of business is going to be giving him a long-term contract extension because he is just immensely valuable to this Raiders offense. The quarterback, right? Much like the right-hand side of the offensive line, quarterback is a gigantic need. You got Aiden O'Connell, 4th-round pick. Meme. It's Tommy DeVito except in Vegas, right? It's kind of a fun quarterback. Looks like Farva from Super Troopers, but he's not going to be the quarterback of the future. And sooner or later, be at the first free agency spot, the first draft that we have to find a brand new quarterback. I have a couple, obviously, we haven't used yet. I think it'll be pretty fun. I don't know who the quarterback is going to be. Probably will have seen by now by clicking on the video. But we're going to have it organic. Whatever quarterback falls to us, we'll make a decision there. And hopefully, again, we'll be looking at an expensive contract here. Hopefully, we can get Jimmy G off the books as soon as possible. But the offense, we get a quarterback. We finish the right-hand side of that offensive line. Things are going to look pretty promising. On the defensive side, front here, we got some guys probably are going to need 2 new defensive tackles before all is said and done. But you have Tyree Wilson, who's slowly starting to catch on. You got to remember he had a bad injury going into the beginning of his rookie campaign from college. So he's like, it takes a little bit to get caught up to speed a little bit. Still think there is a solid player here. Obviously a very physical specimen at 6'6", 270 with 81 speed, almost 90 acceleration, 85 strength. He's a monster. He's going to be a guy we're absolutely going to have to develop. And on the other side, you have one of the best edge rushers in the NFL in Max Crosby, 98 with an X factor. Just plays a ridiculous amount of snaps, a relentless pass rusher. Remember, as an Eagle fan, Lane Johnson said he's one of the hardest guys to go up against, which, in my opinion, Lane Johnson's the best tackle in football. And if you get that cosign, there's not a lot, he's not in the names of the Myles Garretts, Aaron Donalds, TJ Watts. And when Lane Johnson said, Max Crosby ahead of those guys, makes you raise your eyebrow there a little bit. I'm like, oh, goddamn, has respect amongst his peers a little bit. So, him and Tyree Wilson are got to be huge for us, but we do need to figure out the D tackles. Linebacking core, Diablo, Spillane, they're going to be our primary 2 linebackers. I don't necessarily know if we're going to build off of them, but Spillane is big-time fan favorite for the Raiders. Diablo is a legitimate athlete, but unless we start getting some dev traits here, we can flip these guys up to star, which they might based off of their stats. We have to get some probably more upsidey linebackers if these guys aren't going to develop. You have Marcus Epps, solid tackler, coming over from my Philadelphia Eagles in free agency. You know, actually, if a Raider fan is watching, how's he been for you guys? I mean, when he was in Philly, he was like a role player, like a starter, but like a role player starter. Would make a couple splash plays, was a pretty big hitter, earned his, worked his way up from special teams, but also he was just nothing special. Wouldn't necessarily be a game changer, just like a solid safety. And you got Moore right here, 79 on a start dev. He's going to be in our long-term plans for sure. Marcus Peters, got Nate Hobbs, 83 with a start. He was only 24 years old. They got Jack Jones, who played for Antonio Pearson High School, got released by the Patriots, now here in Raiders, 75 with a dev trade. So we got some corners here. Definitely Jones, Hobbs, and Morig in this secondary that I hope come year 5 are still here on the squad and developed into really nice players. But definitely on the defense and on the offensive line and at quarterback, there are plenty of things we need to figure out for this Vegas Raiders team over the next 5 years for us to feel like we have any shot at a Super Bowl. I don't think it's going to be that difficult. I think we got the right player. We got the right mentality here. It's all going to have to start with a big offseason. So let's finish out here. Year 0, get into our first offseason and start rebuilding this team. So looking at contracts, up first we got Josh Jacobs. We're all 5 years. You're going to be here for all 5 years of this rebuild. Thank you very much. Outside of that, we do have Bilal Nichols, who does have a dev trait. I mean, we just got enough salary cap to, like, come on, man, buy on. 2 more years. Shouldn't regress. Hopefully we won't lose his dev trait. Andre James, another guy. We'll go 3. Center's the least important spot on the offensive line. So even if you just have, like, that, he's a serviceable center. We can work with that. Rest of the team, see, just lots of depth guys. I don't care if they're here or not here. I mean, if their families are watching this, they're going, oh, that's my dad. I don't need you. And I say, Marcus Peters, one of my favorite players at once upon a time. Like, when he was coming out of college, that was the corner I wanted my Philadelphia Eagles to get. He went like 2 picks ahead. What do you go, the Kansas City Chiefs, something like that? Andy Reid, Big Red, stolen away. But he's just, he's a little bit up there in age a little bit. We got some younger corners. I want to get on the field sooner than later. So we finished the season on a high note. We beat the Broncos. Hopefully that happens to you guys IRL, even though it doesn't help our draft position. But we finished 8 wins, only a game back in the West. And that is with a 62 overall quarterback. So optimistic that it's not going to be a drastic turnaround here for the Vegas Raiders. As we look at the stats, not much for the quarterbacks at all. Josh Jacobs, 1,300 yards, 9 touchdowns. Hopefully that's just enough for him not to lose his X factor. A little worried Devontae Adams is going to lose his X factor. That's not a fun punch to the gut to start this rebuild, but it is what it is. Nature of the beast here is what we're inheriting. Jacoby Myers, role player. Renfro, role player. Let's see maybe a little more to Michael Mayer going forward. Diablo and Spillane, both tackle machines. Optimistic, honestly, we get the double dev trait there, and they both jump up to the star. But honestly, I'll take just at least one of those. Huge year out of Max Crosby, 20 TFLs, 18.5 sacks on 85 tackles. And I'm just going to be honest, this is what he's doing in real life. I want the sim numbers to be kind of close. And I'm fully prepared for once we get to the end of year 1. Next year, he's going to have half. He's going to have like 10 or 11 TFLs. He's going to have 7.5 sacks or something bullshit. Give me this to kind of be the bar. Give me this franchise edge rusher that plays in sims like a franchise edge rusher. Tyree Wilson, obviously, again, started a little slow, but finishing with 6 TFLs, 4.5 sacks. Let's build off of that. Nothing crazy in the interception department, so that is something we also need to consider just a little bit here. MVP goes to Justin Herbert somehow. Wow. I'm just going to quickly see if there's any Raiders. Oh, here we go. Shout out Max Crosby. The year 0 Super Bowl might be the betting odds Super Bowl right now, and it is the Ravens defeating the Niners 17-14 with J.K. Dobbins miraculously coming back from his torn Achilles to win the MVP award. As far as our squad is considered right now, what would I want it is what we got. I kind of looked ahead already. We needed no regression in Devontae Adams, knowing that if he sims out what he did this year again in year 0, he's going to lose his dev trait. He still is an X factor, which is all you can ask for. And 2 is I would like to see both of our linebackers go up dev trait. They had the production to justify at least going from normal to a star, and we get that for both Spillane and Diablo. Tyree Wilson's hidden dev is a star. Michael Mayer's hidden dev is a star. Both got Jones and Hobbs keeping their devs. So it's about as good as you could ask for going into our first off season. So first piece of business is clearing out the closet here, if you will. And first up is getting $30 million, pretty much, 28.5, getting rid of Jimmy G. So for our first free agency spot, not going to go crazy. We do have a lot of money, especially after getting rid of Jimmy Garoppolo. But the market itself, nothing crazy. We need one linebacker to kind of fill out the three. So we're going to look at Jack Gibbons here, more on a depth rotation role, only a short 2-year contract. And then Ezra Cleveland on the offensive line, kick him over to right guard. We need a right guard and a right tackle at 26.75 with a dev trade. Serviceable enough that I think we can kind of grow and build around. So we do get him, and we should be able to get Jack Gibbons here to sign. Now all eyes go towards the draft, and obviously a gigantic salary cap that we're going to carry over for at least the next 2 years. So we're going to look at the most recent mock draft, just to kind of get an idea, roughly, where and what players are going to be available when it comes time for us to pick. We have Abarius Mims, who I actually did, ironically enough, scout, because we do need a right tackle, 3 A's and a B. Terms of needs, we need a tackle. Joe Alt's still on the board. We need a D tackle. We have Jer'Zhan Newton. We just used him last rebuild, though. J.C. Latham could definitely fit the bill. We need corner. Kool-Aid McKinstry just seems like a Raider. So we might need to explore that just a little bit. We're all, also got a couple shots at quarterback. Jaden Daniels at 24. I could totally see him end up going to the Raiders. All the other quarterbacks are gone. Drake May and Caleb Williams, which makes me wonder, like, is Bo Nix? Do we wait till the second round? We're going to be picking at 12. I'm going to assume on the way around, second round at pick 12. Bo Nix should probably be there. J.J. McCarthy probably going to be there. Michael Penix probably going to be there. So I don't know. Even though I scouted Mims, I almost feel like Kool-Aid McKinstry might be the funner player to go with here. All right, pick 12, we got an interesting board. Like Malik Neighbors is still there. Keon Cole, like the big wideouts. Even though I like our core right now. I think while there might be the best value there, still having a top 5 projected pick, we need to look more so at our needs. At right tackle, Mims is gone. So you can't trust mock draft 3. Latham and Fuaga are still on the board. Legit first round prospects. Didn't have as much scouting done. Need a D tackle. Jer'Zhan Newton's gone. Need corner, and Cooper DeJean and Kool-Aid McKinstry are still there. But I feel this guy's a Raider, man. I'm a big fan. I think he's probably I don't know if I want to say he's my favorite corner. He's right there. Him and DeJean are probably my top 2 favorite corners. Even though my last mock draft video that I dropped, go check it out. I had the Raiders going Nate Wiggins in the first round. Let's go Kool-Aid, man. Let's do it. All right, J.J. McCarthy just went, which means hopefully the next 2 picks we don't see. I think Michael Penix is probably the only quarterback left. McCarthy, maybe Bo Nix is still there. All right, so we got the pick. Obviously, Michael Penix is kind of the hot name right now after his dominant performance against Texas. Why not? Please, just give me Dev. Give me a Dev. God, no. No. Now, to look at our draft recap, I feel pretty good about the draft class, even though we did not get a dev trait on Mr. Penix Jr., the quarterback. Just gives us more pressure to get him Offensive Rookie of the Year. Base rating, not brutal. So we got Kool-Aid McKinstry at pick 12, 76 with a hidden dev. Michael Penix, 73 normal. Got Tyleek Williams at D tackle, who's going to play as a rookie, 73 normal. Got the speedster, a little bit of an Al Davis pick, and Xavier Worthy at a Texas, 74 normal dev. I thought Bengal might have given the Texas wide receiver a little bit of dev trade. Didn't luck out, but look at the speed, 94 speed, 95 acceleration. That is nice. We got Bucky Irving in the 5th round out of Oregon. Another big-time athlete. We actually rolled a dev trade here in the 5th round, 72 with a hidden dev. He actually might be RB2 ahead of Zamir White. Rest of the draft just kind of went with depth, where it was a little bit lacking. 64 for Foster, 65 for Keegan, 68 for Jalen Simpson. We ended up getting Michael Penix teammate Jalen McMillan out of Washington, 70 overall wide receiver in the 7th round. But ultimately, and honestly, for this draft class, it's all going to be about can we get, and how fast can we get Michael Penix off that normal dev. I will say, as I modified Michael Penix, because there is the known issue with Bengals draft class where it's basically bugged and everyone kind of defaults to the same kind of player, which is annoying. Just going to go and modify it. So we got Michael Penix, the right jersey, try to give him, obviously, it's the coach pad, the visor, yada, yada, yada. However, without I mean, there's no dev trait, but he got dogged on his speed here a little bit. I think a little bit faster than 78 speed, 79 acceleration, 78 agility. I mean, back in Indiana, he was definitely more of a dual threat, showed some athletic. So, you know, you probably can almost make the argument you last +6, +7 to probably each one of those. But we're gonna deal with the Michael Penix we have. And it all starts with this rookie season, getting him into the Offensive Rookie of the Year conversation and trying to get that automatic normal 2-star dev increase. At the end of year number 1, very impressed with our offensive numbers. Top 10 offense. Maybe not so. I mean, the record, I mean, you know, positive, 9-8. It is slowly in the right direction. But I think the best thing, and you know, in today's Madden, it's like if you find a team that's maybe slightly outside the meta playbooks, that you still get like entertaining numbers from, it almost gets me ready to go. You know what I mean? And we got pretty decent numbers here. I mean, not MVP numbers, but in his first year, 4,100 yards, 30 touchdowns to 6 picks. Absolutely should put him in contention for Offensive Rookie of the Year, I would think. 17 and 16 from Josh Jacobs, who's an absolute monster. We got a little bit of scrambling here out of Mr. Penix. On the receiving standpoint, hey, 11 touchdowns for Michael Mayer. Jacoby Myers almost 1,000, and Devonta just 92 catches, almost 1,600 yards, 13 tuds. Defensively, Diablo and Spillane both going over 100 tackles. We got sacks from Matt Crosby with 11 TFLs, 17 sacks, 6-8 tackles for him, 4.5 for Tyree Wilson. Definitely want to see that pick up a little bit, so it's not so much a Max Crosby one-man show, but I'll at least take one guy that is prolific. Interceptions, nothing crazy. 3 picks for Morig leading the team. Look at the yearly awards. MVP goes to Lamar Jackson and Michael Penix. Right there. Love seeing that. Now, Offensive Rookie of the Year, a little worried. Drake May's up there, but different conference. Hopefully, Penix is that of the AFC. Here we go. Beautiful. Not really a lot of other competition. All the top quarterbacks are in the NFC, but hell yeah, that should be a least star dev trait for our quarterback, which is huge going forward. For the rest of the awards, Josh Jacobs was runner-up for running back of the year. Devontae Adams wins wide receiver of the year. Max Crosby wins D lineman of the year. So it's the rare year, and at least it's early on in the rebuild, that you might take player success, individual accolades that's going to help this team develop in year 1, then maybe more so the team success also needs to be understood that we have $91 million of available salary cap. So we're already at 85 overall. Yes, obviously we get some older players that are going to start to regress, like Devontae Adams. But we're already at 85, and we almost $100 million budget to improve this team, to retain our players. It's only the beginning. We're going to be, at this rate, probably a 95 overall come year 4 or 5 of this rebuild. Damn, the Niners lose back-to-back Super Bowls. Kyle Shanahan still can't win as the Buffalo Bills defeat the 49ers. But the big news that everyone, myself included, is waiting on is, well, I mean, it's obviously not news. Michael Penix is going to be off the normal dev, which was underwhelming when we drafted him in the 2nd round. And he is a superstar. What? Got the double dev. So he got one. The base dev of star, he earned that off of his production from touchdowns and yardage. And he got superstar dev for winning Offensive Rookie of the Year. All right, it's going to be on him to maintain that dev trait, to make sure that this year 1, year 2, the consistency stays there, that he keeps going. 30 tuds, 4,000 yards, single-digit interception numbers. But that is a hell of a start for the very good-looking quarterback out of Washington, who arguably has the best deep ball in this upcoming draft class. Everyone else maintained their dev traits. Michael Mayer made the jump from star up to a superstar. Didn't have crazy yardage or catches, but he did have 11 touchdowns. So that is nice that he is a focal piece of this offense. And you figure the Vegas Raiders offense should be like, you know, still a Josh McDaniels offense. When you think of that, think of the best Patriots teams that utilize their tight end. So we definitely have a good prospect here. Want to continue to do so. On the defensive side of the ball, as far as dev traits, I actually thought Williams here would have a shot. But unfortunately, he did not. Spillane Diablo there. Kool-Aid McKinstry, superstar. We obviously earned that in season. So the fact that my 1st and 2nd round pick from the 2024 NFL Draft earned superstar devs in their first season, that is very promising going forward. Going into free agency with our gigantic cap space, we had 2 positions of need. One was at safety, where you know, again, it's a realistic rebuild. These players that have no interest, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense to even really try to pursue them unless we're utterly desperate, which we're not this early in the rebuild. Not really any safeties here that are providing like an immediate upgrade over Marcus Epps. You know, we could throw Epps just a one-year Band-Aid deal. I think maybe we try to look and target a safety early in the draft. I also want to look at defensive tackle. Doesn't really, you know, nothing. Pretty weak. It's never usually a strong role in free agency. And I was looking at a tackle, right tackle, Thayer Munford. Nice developmental guy for us, but nothing else special. Limited ceiling. And, of course, there's just not the role. A lot of win now type signings. Jedrick Wilson's always there. But that's a little boring. You know, he's a prototypical high repetitive free agency signing. I want to deviate a little bit here. So, with all that being said, didn't get the best of role here for free agency. So, we're just going to kind of let our salary cap roll this one over. All right, so taking a peek here at the final mock draft, just get an idea generally where the top players are going. You know, eventually we'll have a rebuild where I can get some of these top dogs, where I can get a Travis Hunter, Walter Nolan, Harold Perkins, Malachi Starks, but Luther Burden, that's another big name, Shador. All those guys, though, I mean, that's not today. We are picking at 17. I actually like this pick. Sonny Styles, that seems like a Raider guy. Like almost borderline Al Davis. Not necessarily an S-tier athlete, I don't think. But the Ohio State Buckeyes pretty much utilize him as a strong safety, linebacker hybrid. 6'5", 228. He is like an old school, you know, maybe we could just fantasize like Taylor Mays reincarnated. And that's a good pick right there. I did also scout Maui Goa. Him and his brother are huge, big-time prospects there for Miami. Not the best in terms of like outright scouting there. So maybe we don't look at tackle. We also have Caleb Downs, who is an elite prospect at safety as well. Honestly, maybe even a better prospect. I'm going to be honest, probably is a better prospect right now off the top of my head than Sonny Styles. We're different style players, obviously. But I think the fact that this mock draft has us going Styles, as long as it doesn't clickbait us, I'll be fine with that pick. Doesn't look particularly strong in D-tackle, at least where we're picking. Same with offensive tackle. So our next need is safety, even though it's a little bit of a, I don't know what you could call it. I wouldn't say hipster pick, but I mean, safety's still, you know, it's like getting a middle linebacker, off-ball linebacker in the first round. You can do it, and sometimes you get your Roquan Smiths out there, or Kyle Hamiltons, that transcend your team. But it's also a position that still, there's always going to be draft snobs that stick their nose up at the idea of using a first-round pick on a player like that. But just get a comparison here. Sonny Styles, Caleb Downs. Sonny Styles, A, hit power, A, man, B, tackle, B, zone. Obviously, elite profile. Not a burner, but, I mean, still comes with great speed, great acceleration, elite jumping, elite strength. You compare that to Caleb Downs, who doesn't have as good tackling, but he's more of a cover guy. Probably is a better athlete. I mean, he returns punts for Alabama. Maybe need to update that just a little bit. But I think for us, we're going to go Sonny Styles. There's our Marcus Epps replacement, first-round pick. And what a monster in the secondary. Now going into the second round, we do have Chase Bisontis from A&M, who has pretty good letter grades. Double B and an A there. Still available. Probably wouldn't be there in the third round. You look at the D tackles that are still available. We do have Zane Duran out of Penn State. Mason Graham. Who also big time for Michigan there. I think we go tackle. I think we go offensive line. Get the offensive line set. We worry about the rest later. So let's just hope we can get all three. What D tackle? Give me a juicy D tackle here in the third round so that we could just keep... Oh, man, it's Hutmacher who we used in the last rebuild. Damn. Amari McNeil out of Colorado looks pretty decent. A finesse, B tackle, double C's. I'm trying to treat this now as if this is not a draft class that I made. This is like, now we're just looking at straight ratings. Elite speed, pretty good athlete. Bench press maybe a little bit on the low side. Caleb Banks, C's there. A's, a bunch of A and C's. Not, I mean, that is the pick to make. But Bear Alexander here, the Georgia transfer at USC. Pretty nice athlete. No, screw it. We'll go, let's go McNeil. He's a big-time player for Colorado. One of the rare good players on Colorado's defense. That wasn't Travis Hunter. No depth trait, but it looks like a pretty decent athlete. And take a look at our draft recap. Pretty strong draft. I mean, it got big shoes to fill. Maybe not so much at the starting gate, But the fact that we got 2 superstars from our first draft class, need to keep up it here. Top picks are great. Maybe not as strong of base rating haul, if you will. McNeil in the third round, 68 normal. Like, and the rest of these guys, all normal devs. But hit in the first round, we got Bisantis at right tackle, 72. With the dev trade, he's probably going to start for us at right tackle just because he has more upside than Thayer Munford. But Sonny Styles, what a get. 77 hidden dev monster. Look at those stats. 91 speed, 92 acceleration, 87 pursuit, 88 hit power. Beast. Shit, we're year 2. We have beat both Kansas City and week 7. We beat the Dallas Cowboys in the sim to be 6-1. We have a top 5 offense. Honestly, the rank's pretty much in line with where we finished last season. But we just beat the 2 toughest tasks you could see in a sim in Kansas City. Obviously, we're going to play the Chiefs another time. But you beat Kansas City. You beat Dallas. We're year 2 of a 5-year rebuild. That is as goddamn good of a start as you can get. Let's look at some contracts real quick here so we can keep the momentum going. We have $102 million worth of salary cap. And in classic Raider fashion, Raiders always have good special teams. So we're going to get both Daniel Carlson and the punter there, AJ Kool, locked in for the remainder of the rebuild. Set and forget elite special teams unit. We got Jacoby Myers at wideout. Feel like we probably could put that money elsewhere. But I mean, he's solid. He's just going to be a guy like, do I want to pay $32 million for a guy that's always going to get like 700 to 900 yards? Somewhere in that range, right? So, I mean, we'll wait and see. We'll get Colt Miller, 3-year deal, get him locked in for the remainder of the rebuild. We got Jack Jones, again, like serviceable, not really a big-time contract. Get him locked in. At worst, he just becomes depth. We have Power McGuard. I think given the state of linemen that are available in rebuilds, not bad. I mean, what's his ceiling? Come year 4, year 5, 81, 82. That's good enough to be a starting guard on a Super Bowl contender. So really the only question, and we'll obviously pick up the 5th-year option on Tyree Wilson once the offseason hits, is just what do we want to do with Jacoby Myers? I'll tell you right there, if somehow, some way in the sim he gets 1,000 yards, we'll lock him in for 3 years. He'll be a pivotal part of this wide receiver rotation going forward. Bottom stretch of year number 2, and we actually got on a little bit of a losing streak. We were 6-1, and now we're 8-6, but we did just beat the Giants, in which we got a breakout for the D-line. Given the fact we have 2 normal dev D tackles, Tyleik Williams is the 2nd time already in this rebuild. He's tried to go up dev trade, get off that goddamn bronze boy normal dev, and we need it because we had Bilal Nichols, had a star, lost it, which is, you know, kind of counting our blessings a little bit. Haven't had much dev trait regression so far. We handle business against Commanders, 34-7, dominant victory. We're definitely, I feel confident between Jacksonville and Denver, get one more win, double-digit wins. But more importantly, can we get Tyleik Williams off his normal dev? And we sure as shit did. And then year 2, a lot better, 11-6, 3rd place in the West. I remember the last time we did, well, the last realistic rebuild we did was Denver, the Broncos, the first loss. We didn't win a Super Bowl at all. And one thing I remember from that rebuild is every year the goddamn AFC West was like cannibalizing itself. All teams were always good. That's what we got here a little bit. But still, first little taste of the playoffs. Michael Penix gets to rip that Band-Aid off here in year 2. Very tough matchup against the 11-6 Ravens. But let's see, how did we get to this point? And he played well. Yards a little bit down, touchdowns up, interception. If this is the kind of guy he's going to be, we'll concede. Not going to be a 2nd-round pick turned into MVP candidate. But that's more than good enough considering how much this offense runs through Josh Jacobs. It's complimentary. On the receiving standpoint, Devontae Adams down a little bit. I will say, I guess, secret to the sauce a little bit. We do have Devontae Adams in the slot to try. It's just one of those schemes, like the slot wide receiver is going to eat. But that's what, like 400 less yards, way less receptions, but 15 touchdowns. That's awesome. He's definitely going to keep his X factor still. Michael Mayer with a great year. Myers said he needed 1,000 yards for me to resign him. Again, just role player type numbers. You don't pay $30 million for a role player. I can just find one in the draft. Sonny Styles, the rookie out of Ohio State, 125 tackles, 8 TFLs, and a pick for the star dev. Okay. I did make him our starting sub linebacker with Spillane starting to regress already. I love the fact Matt Crosby eating, man, absolutely eating. 9 TFLs, 16 sacks, 7.5 for Tyree Wilson. His breakout season, 13 TFLs. Tyleik Williams got that star dev in the year. So that's all pretty badass. Interceptions numbers are pretty low here across the board. Not loving that. Yearly awards, Mahomes wins the MVP in the AFC. Looking for some Raiders. Max Crosby, top 5 defensive player of the year. Oh, Sonny Styles runner up for defensive rookie. Lose out to Will Johnson, the very good corner from the Michigan Wolverines. Caleb Downs, the other safety we're considering, right up there as well. So we probably would have been pretty happy with either one of those selections. And as far as right when we're just seeing a lot of Kansas City Chiefs. But year 2 playoffs, never gonna get too upset about that because it's happens. But usually you don't regress from this standpoint, so that means year 2, 3, 4, and 5, we should have 4 seasons of trying to get that Super Bowl win for this Raiders team. But it starts very, very tough here against Baltimore. Who I think if you're looking at AFC team, I'd probably put Baltimore number 2 behind the Kansas City Chiefs. It's either Baltimore or Cincinnati, I would say, are like the 2 tough sim teams to go against. And we just got handled by a team that's further along in their process. Again, we have almost $100 million of salary cap. We're up to an 88 overall. We are just scratching the surface of where this team's going to be. So, I mean, at the end of the day, losing to Baltimore, not the end of the world. We're never going to be. It's like what Deion Sanders was saying. As you watch, like, kind of the dramatic fall off of Colorado last year in college football, it's like, this is the worst we're going to be. Get your shots in now, because we're never going to be this bad again. Kansas City wins the Super Bowl here in year 2, 31-14 over the Atlanta Falcons. So, pressure's on anytime you do a rebuild and a team within your own division does what our end goal is, even if it is Kansas City. It's still annoying. Looking at our roster, as far as dev traits are concerned on the offensive side of the ball, Michael Besantis was a hidden dev rookie star dev, but Michael Mayer making that jump from superstar up to an X Factor. You love to see that. Living up to his potential. Kind of, got disrespected during the draft process. Showed some flashes last year on a dysfunctional Raiders offense. I think there's a hell of a player there. IRL, and he's showing it here in this rebuild. On the defensive side, we got, obviously, the in-season dev trade of Tyreek Williams, and we got Sonny Styles up to superstar. Probably just tackles, right? Only way, because, he didn't win any awards. So, straight up, by making him our starting sub-linebacker, I'm not going to lie, maybe a little bit of strategy to that to put him in a position to roll a dev trade, but Sonny Styles, let's go. That is first-round pick in year 1, a superstar. First-round pick in year 2, a superstar. Let's keep that streak alive here this offseason. Come on, man. I'll bring it alive. I literally got to the wide receivers for this free agent period, knowing we had 90 mil. Man, huge sack of cash, looking to pay anybody. And I was like, oh, great. Jacoby Myers, the guy we let. There's no worse feeling than the guy you let walk being the best player at a position that you let walk because you hope you can get an upgrade. And wide receiver is usually a role that, you can get better than 84 for a 29-year-old on at that spot, which nothing much there on the O-line. Defensively, a D-tackle. That's a spot that I did scout heavily for this upcoming draft, so it's not the end of the world. There's not much there, unless we want to convert a veteran DN back to D-tackle, which I don't really want to do. There's nothing at linebacker. Slim Pickens at the corner. We got Slay. Just old heads, veterans. Ugh. All right, not paying anybody. I'm keeping my money, and I'm going home. Over the upcoming draft, I did scout some D-tackles, and there is one that I want more than other. Grant Gallery looks actually really interesting, value-wise. A block shed, B power, A tackle, 6'5", 307. Pretty good athlete as well. But I'm not going to say it's a tell, because anytime you see like a 6'6", 6'7" D tackle, I'm always going to be a little intrigued. And we got Joseph Vashier scouted out as a legit first-round talent, 40 reps on the bench press. There's also another 6'6" guy right here in Calvin Blaylock, who's also a pretty big-time athlete, to be honest with you. I guess the question right now is going to be in the first round, do we trade up for Vasher because he's a better grade, or do we get Gallery and maybe get him, what else would I want here? Wide out, potentially, in the first round, if one could... Ooh. All three of these guys look actually kind of badass. Michael Goodwin, 5'9", 193, B release. What's the... What are the traits here, okay? Not really what we're looking for. Marlon Cook, A deep route running, B catching. You'd love to see the 4-2 guy there. Demetrius Black. We'll see how the draft, see how the board falls. If one of those wideouts is there, maybe I'll pivot and grab that D tackle in the second round, or be aggressive and trade up and get that D tackle in the second round. We're gonna sit and wait. It'll pick 23 in the 2026 NFL draft, and try to make the best decision for this team going forward. But we might have a little bit of an Al Davis selection if one of those fast wideouts is still on the board. We got a couple here, all of them actually. Oh shit, man, I wish I had scouting done. What do we got? A D tackle. Okay, Grant. So I mean, if we do this, I have to just 100% commit to trading up in the second round to get him. I just want to double check here, make sure there's not like a free corner. Got pass rush. Just because we do have the 5th-year option of Tyree Wilson. All right, let's grab a wideout here. Screw it. Why not? We let Jacoby Myers walk. Who is going to be the best of these three? It is blind picking for the most part. Concentration drops. So he's elite agility, change of direction. He ran a 4.38. We got BB. We don't know the two more important stats. We got A deep route running, B catching on Cook. He has elite agility, so he's the least athletic of the bunch. And then we got Demetrius Black. I think this guy might be the best. A deep running, B release. We don't know what the catching is, but acceleration, agility, and has great speed. Let's do it! Give me fuck! Fuck! All right, let's make a move here. We're going to sim here in the second round. There is one D tackle ahead of ours. Doesn't mean he's going to go there, but I mean, it's going to be very expensive to trade up. Okay, actually, there we go. Radovich is gone. So that means the next, we got to try to trade with the Denver Broncos. What do they want for pick 7 in the second round for me to jump up? I wonder if I could just straight up offer them. I'm not going to say cheese this, but so pick 39 is what we want. We'll give them 55. I mean, if they do that, it's cheating. If not, I'll straight up give her a 3rd rounder. Okay, all right. I'll do it. I'll give you my 2. Because after this, I mean, my board is not saying shot, but it's not the best. So we'll trade our 2nd and 3rd round to move into the top 10. This give me a dev trade. Needs to be a dev trade, especially after whiffing on the blind wide receiver pick. Look, the other guys are still there, man. Fool's gold. They're both still sitting there. Fuck me, man. Pardon my French. Please don't be normal dev. There we go. There we go. Worth it. Worth it. All right, so look at our draft recap. Demetrius, I mean, hey, if I'm going to get a kind of shit normal dev, 76, good base rating to have. And then we got Grant Gallery, 74 with the hidden dev. But, of course, with 3 wide receivers kind of in the mix, I got to see what the ratings are of the other 2 guys. We have Goodwin, 77. Oh, and I said he was like the shittiest of the bunch. Just be star, please. Okay. Hope the other guy. Hope he's normal. I really hope he's normal, Dev. It was Marlon Cook, 77. So, you know, did I get the worst though? Did I get the worst out of the 3? Did I get 76 normal? So I did get the worst. You know what? There's not too often that happens. Not too often I get the worst, the shit end of the stick. So when it does happen, I'll humble myself a little bit. And it's just ultimately came to the fact that I blind picked that. I needed a little bit more information. But I love the fact that we were aggressive to get our guy in the second round. All right, let's get a team update as we get into year 3 of our Vegas Raiders rebuild with Michael Penix Jr. under center. And you got to make sure you pronounce that name right every single time or you're going to be a goddamn meme. Definitely a little concerned about the depth beyond Devontae. I mean, we've been a one horse in this stable of wide receivers. It's been Devontae Adams. Fine, it should be Devontae Adams. But we have Xavier Worley, 78 normal. Our first round pick, 76 normal. So a little concerned about the ceilings of our wide receiver room because we're at that point now, fork in the road, where Devontae Adams is starting to regress. Even though he's playing really, really well, and he's not regressing badly, you know, he's slowly deteriorating at this point. So we do have the development of Michael Mayer, who's up to an 85 X factor. Is that going to be enough? Well, I mean, I like to more so think because we've been hoarding our salary cap, eventually there's going to be a good role of a wide receiver. It's probably going to be Tyreek Hill because he just becomes available usually. But hopefully a big name wideout comes, and it's not going to be like the Broncos rebuild where we end up signing both Jamar Chase and Jalen Waddle. We won't make that mistake again. That cursed that rebuild. That's why we never won the Super Bowl in that rebuild. That's why we took the L. The only L so far in our Madden 24 realistic rebuild. It was because of that karma shift. We won't make that mistake, but I hope we get a role like that because we desperately need someone else at that wide receiver spot. Defensively, well, we got a lot of talent here. McKinstry, superstar. Sonny Siles, superstar. Gallery, excited to see that. Tyree Wilson, let's see a breakout because we had to make a decision if we're going to pay him big-time money or not. He's playing on his fifth-year option, and I think so far it's, it depends what he's looking for. If he's looking for 20, 30 million as that role player on the other side of Max Crosby, sure. But if he's going to say, hey, I want 50, 60, I'm an edge one, I'm going to have to go, okay, buddy, go get overpaid by, I don't know, who overpays edge rushers? Insert team, I don't know. I can't clown on a team right now. Can't think of one. But I feel good about this squad. Made the playoffs year 2. Should make the playoffs year 3. From a point of year 3, sitting atop the AFC West, and it doesn't look like, at least at this point, it's going to be one of those years where every team has 10 wins, and it's a bloodbath for that first spot. But you never know. Things could certainly pick up in the back end of the season. But I feel pretty good. 4-2. Offense. The pass yards severely fall off a cliff. Wow. But everything else looks, checks and balances. Offense top 5, rushing, running through, Josh Jacobs. I don't know what the fuck happened with the yards though. Like I don't even know if we're gonna have 3,000 yards passing for some. You know what happened? I mean, our wide receiver room has question marks outside of Devontae Adams. I didn't think it'd be that impactful. 31st. Like we've been pretty much top 10 in all 3 of those categories offensively. Okay, so a little worried. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see. You can't judge it right now. You got to see where it's at the end of the year. $150 million, so definitely going to be able to extend Max Crosby for the remainder of this rebuild. We're going to be able to extend our X-Factor tight end in Michael Mayer to the end of this rebuild. We'll give him a player-friendly deal. Ooh, he wants more. Okay. Got Devontae. Can't let him go. Well, there you go. I mean, obviously, there's going our... I mean, that's just how much money we had. That, like, all right, we've offered big-time contracts to everyone, and we still almost have $100 million. We pick up a 5th-year option to Kool McKinstry. Andre James starter at center. Again, probably just run him into the ground. Even if he starts to aggressively, like, if you have like over a 76, 77 center, you're fine. So we'll definitely come back to the table with Michael Mayer. I think Spillane, especially because we use Sonny Styles now, him and Divine Diablo primarily as our sub linebackers, and they're on the field the most. It will throw them like a sympathy, like you're really good at underrated IRL, and I think Raider fans watching this are like, let's see what Spillane can do. I'll give him a 1 year, but we'll definitely get Michael Mayer locked up long term as well. And this year 3, we're not strong finishers here at the Raiders because great record. Now, not so much. Lost control. Still looking for our first divisional title. But we made the playoffs, and we got, at least as far as records are concerned, a winnable matchup here against the Miami Dolphins. But I think offensively, we got over 30, but look at that. Worst, the lowest passing yards, and what the fuck? Do we become a military school? What are these numbers? Shout out Josh Jacobs. Oh, man, no. We're probably losing X factors here, left, right, and center. But while the offense had its shortcomings, the defense, highlighted, two new tacklers right there, but highlighted by Max Crosby. 76 tackles, 21 TFLs, 25 sacks, shattering the single season record for sacks, at least before this rebuild begun. So just Max Crosby, insane. Tyree Wilson stepping up a little bit, being a good role player on the other side. So that is pretty decent. Tyleek Williams, also fairly nice. Like Max Crosby, gotta get him. Not only, that's just something that I think should get fixed a little bit. Maybe in Madden 25. Can we have ridiculous defensive seasons? Get a little more respect in the MVP race. But he has got to be Defensive Player of the Year, which he is. And we love seeing that. As far as the rest of the Raiders, I don't think we're going to have anyone outside of Max Crosby. But insane stat line for him. And I don't know. Is that good enough for me to just dismiss the fact that my offense looks nothing like it did, really, for the first 2 years here in year 3? Probably not, but they do say, smarter people than me do say defense wins championships. Our defense, not today, as we fall 28-23. Damn. Chiefs made it to another Super Bowl, but luckily did not win back-to-back as they fall to the Falcons 32-31. Drake May. So last year, I believe it was, I'm sorry, I recorded the first part of this rebuild yesterday. I'm pretty sure the Chiefs just won the Super Bowl in hey, I can look right here. Chiefs won the Super Bowl in 2025. A rematch. Come on, let's get a little bit more parity in the league, please. But, last year was like, all right, pressure's on a little bit. A team within our own division for this rebuild won the Super Bowl. Like, oh, now the pressure's double on because a quarterback now from the same draft class as Michael Penix has gone on to make 2 straight Super Bowls and to win one of them there in Atlanta. We should be similar, right? We should be like, oh, we're right there. We're going to get it next time. But the reality is I'm now looking at my team expecting massive depth trait regression because my offense was non-existent this year. And there we go. We lost the X factor on Davante Adams. We lost the X factor on Michael Mayer. And easily our top priority, because the only thing that's different this year is our wide receiver core. We went with a pretty big gamble that Davante Adams and Michael Mayer could carry the load. We ended up going with, guys, let's be fair, our role players at wide receiver 2 and 3, and our passing offense, it doesn't even look similar to where it was the first 2 years. First 2 years, it was respectable, borderline good. This year, it was literally the worst in the NFL. So let's hope we get a good role at wide receiver, something like that. In free agency, we lost a depth trade on Spillane. I mean, he's just at that age, right? We did get X Factor on Sonny Styles. He is absolutely crushing it for us. So that is dope. And I mean, again, he kind of fills 2 positions as a money linebacker, as a strong safety. Max Crosby, arguably the best defensive player in the league right now. So I really do like that D-line. I like our secondary for sure. But I do think we go into the offseason probably needing a linebacker. Not a top priority because, again, Sonny Styles is in that hybrid. But if we can get a linebacker, that'd be nice. But easily our biggest need is a wide receiver 2, if not getting a wide receiver 2 and wide receiver 3. So as we go into free agency with $100 million, which means like we almost need to force our hand to spend the most Al Davis pick in a rebuild where I, as many times as I can, will pay homage to Al Davis. Is available in Tyreek Hill, who is still very fast, even though he's getting up there in age a little bit. No interest. But we are desperate. I'm not only desperate to get Tyreek Hill, I'm desperate to get him and draft a wide receiver in the first. Like that's what our offense is missing. We have assets allocated everywhere else that I feel comfortable. I think we go player friendly. I don't know. I don't want to go very player friendly, but we will go player for. And look, we're not even. Let's withdraw this offer. What if I go very player? Just to see, do we even make the short list? Barely. I mean, we'll stick with that offer because there's nothing else there. You got Nico, Colin, DeAndre. Like, it's just, no one's better than what we have right now outside of Tyreek Hill, who goes to the 2-time Super Bowl appearing, 1-time Super Bowl champ Atlanta. All right. So we're up at pick 22 in the first round of the 2027 NFL Draft. And when I say that the wide receivers in this draft class were not good, they're not very good. We got AA. Leslie Rice looks, key ratings-wise, to be the best. Tell you what, though. If I've learned one thing, it's that ratings are not as important as athletic traits when it comes to wide receiver. I've had... Like, these ratings look terrible. F catch in traffic, D catching, D release. Does a B deep route running. He is a deep threat. But he also is like he's going to have 99 speed. The athletes are always what you want. If I had to guess, this guy's going to be like a 72, 73 hidden dev with his athletic prowess. This guy here might be 76. We're going to use this as an example because I already know where I'm going. This guy might be like 75, 76 normal because he has, and I mean, he's not brutal athletically, but key ratings mean higher rating. Key combine means dev trait. And we are chasing dev trait, and in the ultimate Al Davis, we're getting Darius Hayward Bay 2.0 in Geo Lynch because he has 99 speed. My second round pick, going to reach a little bit. I looked through all the linebackers, and my top one with the focus scouting ends up being an elite looking player in Carlos Bonds, linebacker out of Washington. He had A pursuit, A tackle were the two key ratings that I had fully scouted. We actually unveiled that he is also A block shed, B zone, E lead speed. It's not that hard of a pick. He clearly is going to be very, very good. Diamond in the rough. And that is a big time get for us as we need a Robert Spillane successor. So now we're in round 3 here. And I was like, all right, let's just gotta look for BPAs. Like, oh, there's a couple nice looking corners here. Cheese the corners. Look at what we have for UDFA players. Now we could get Fool's Gold here, but look, Bankston and Sullivan. A catching, A press, B zone, UDFA grade. I'm gonna get both these guys. What? Just ridiculous value. Letter grades are misleading for wide receivers. Definitely not for corners. B catching, A press, B zone for Deontay Bankston, who is actually also a legit athlete. No dev trade. I wouldn't be surprised if this rating's high. All right, let's take a look at our draft recap. I feel pretty good about it. Honestly, we get the athlete. $69 and a $70 UDFA grade corners, and the 70 is a hidden dev, is great pulls. A 76 linebacker that the letter grades to match is actually really, really good value, considering he was a 3rd, 4th rounder. I might have been able to wait and get this guy in the 3rd round, let alone the 2nd round. And we're all just going to gloss over the fact this, even with the dev trait, might be my worst 1st round pick, all Madden. Not even a 70. A 69 overall 1st round pick. Like, this is... I mean, athletic specimen, sure. This is as, I don't think I could honor Al Davis any better by whiffing on a legit wide receiver in free agency and Tyreek Hill. Not really whiffing, he just didn't want to come here. And then just said, all right, I'm going to go draft the fastest playmaker. I'm going to get the Tyreek Hill in this draft. And he ends up being a fucking 69. All right, well, we had that other wide receiver I wanted to compare him against. Rice, I believe. And I said Rice is going to be 75, 76 normal because he had really good letter grades, not so great of a combine. Even then, not so great a combine, still has 92 speed, 91 acceleration, 92 agility. But if he has a normal dev, that means it passed the vibe test. So that's a trend. That's certainly something that you can pick up on. And if you can take something away from this video, outside of hopefully watching this Raiders team win a Super Bowl, is that if you don't care about dev trait, you trust that maybe your guy can go to a system and a scheme. If you're playing every single game, you can force feed enough to get Rookie of the Year. Wouldn't worry about it, because if you can get Rookie of the Year, you're going to get that free dev trait anyways. But if you are chasing dev traits, always go with the better athletes. Better athletes have dev traits. Higher letter grades are usually better base rating, but they don't get the dev trait luck. All right, midway point of year number 4. 3-3 record for an 88 overall squad. Little bit on the disappointing side, but we're not... the ranks are back up where we want. I mean... Kind of. Just outside top 10 for passing yards. Last year was the worst in the league. Defense still playing well. Generally speaking, you look at those ranks, probably you would assume better than a 3-3 record. So we got to make sure we finish out the season right. But we have plenty of salary to throw around here to keep everybody happy that we want to. So what do we got? We are going to start with Tyree Wilson. Player-friendly contract. Cool. I wouldn't want to pay much more than that, but he's playing well. He's a good role player, good secondary pass rusher. After Max Crosby, we got Tyleik Williams, who's been great on the interior. This is the big one, Michael Penix. We'll give him a 6-year, $238 million deal to continue to hopefully not be what he was last season. Now, after paying our quarterback, don't have a crazy amount of salary cap. So we're going to let our RB2, we're going to let out an aging linebacker who's been really solid for us in this rebuild in Diablo, but he's definitely at that expiration date. Ezra Cleveland, I feel like we can probably just draft a guard. And then we got some role players. But, yeah, Michael Penix takes up, sure, a lot of our salary cap. And I'm actually, honestly, looking at this, glad we didn't sign Tyreek Hill because that might have made it that much more difficult to re-sign our quarterback. Well, we only lost one more game for the remainder of the year. We go 13-4. It's an uber competitive West, but we get our first West title. Raiders, Chiefs, double-digit wins right there. We ended up with the #1 offense in the NFL. Our passing yards definitely started to slow up a little bit, as we all knew this all along. As long as I got decent passing numbers and elite play out of Josh Jacobs. That's kind of what I was expecting. We had the #1 defense in the NFL. Pretty happy. Pretty happy with all that across. Look at that. Josh Jacobs, second leading rusher. Max Crosby up there again with sacks with 18. So we got our big-time players making big-time plays. Hey, you know what? This is the number that we want. This is what we got year 1 and 2 out of Penix. Year 3 is just that weird year 3 that we've seen time and time again in Madden. That 3,800 yards, 33 touchdowns, 5 picks. I'll take that every day of the week. Last year was pathetic. Don't know why. Josh Jacobs crushed it. 1,700 yards, 16 touchdowns. We had 12 and 14 for Devontae Adams in the slot. Gio Lynch, well, deep threat. Gave us some explosives. And he's a superstar dev. A 69 superstar dev player through the draft. That's probably not, I was going to say, what if he gets Rookie of the Year? Does that mean we're going to get an X Factor? A rookie that started as a 69, finishes as an X Factor in his first rookie season. 8 and 7, unless maybe if it's a down year, I could see him winning it. Michael Mayer's solid as well. I mean, where'd Michael Mayer's touchdowns go, man? I felt like he was going to be a guy who'll get us double-digit touchdowns every year. That hasn't been the case. Defensively, obviously, we saw big-time sack numbers there from Max Crosby. Tackle numbers, you're starting to see that regression from Diablo. That's why we're letting him walk. 18 sacks, 21 TFLs for Max Crosby, 11.5 for Tyreek Williams, 11 from Tyree Wilson. Happy we paid him. Those are the sacks we need. That is what we need. Not only this year, we're sure as shit going to need that for year 5, because this looks like it's probably going to be a Super Bowl or bust type rebuild. The yearly awards MVP goes to Patrick Mahomes. And do we have any Raiders? Well, Josh Jacobs in the top 5 for Offensive Player of the Year. Max Crosby in the top 3 for Defensive Player of the Year. Gio Lynch is Offensive Rookie of the Year. So there is a shot that a 69 hidden dev wet fart of a first-round pick, who just so happened to run a 4.24, could finish as an X Factor, which, in hindsight, I probably shouldn't have hated that pick as much as I did. But we still have a lot more business we need to handle before we find out a dev trade, because we can kick our feet up as the 1 seed. With not only are we the 1 seed, that thing there said we had $101 million of salary cap. I don't know if that's true or not, but I hope it is. I hope my financials that only showed I had $20 million remaining was fake news. And I actually do have $100 million to go buck wild this offseason after we win a Super Bowl here. We got Lamar, and Lamar is playing very well. 29 touchdowns, only 2 picks. He's protecting the football. This is their offense is not crazy. I mean, we should roll. We are the number 4 offense, number 1 defense. But it's Lamar. The Ravens are pretty damn good. We are 90 overall. I like my team, but we just have had no playoff success. And we actually handle business. 27-24, get our first playoff victory in the Michael Penix era with Sonny Styles, 6 tackles and a pick 6. The bad news, well, the good news is we've generally been splitting the series with the Kansas City Chiefs in the regular season. We've beat them for sure in the sim. However, Kansas City in the regular season versus Kansas City in the postseason is an entirely different monster. So we're going to upgrade our players here and just see, just maybe we can go on that no playoff success, then out of the blue year 4, we go and make the freaking Super Bowl. We are 1 win away from the Super Bowl, but what stands in front of us is the number 2 offense in the NFL. That is, I don't know, hot take. If you're still here, let me know in the comments. Who do you think's, if you had to pick one overpowered team, do you think the Kansas City Chiefs or the Dallas Cowboys are the most overpowered team? Sim team anyways. I think it's a toss-up. But let's see if we can handle business. Make a Super Bowl here in year 4. Oh, it's ugly. We made it ugly. In the battle of top defenses, Chris Jones went off. 4 sacks from the D-tackle spot. I assume we're probably playing the Packers here. But Josh Jacobs, wow. In a low-scoring game, 100 yards and a touchdown. I got to see that. That's so ugly that might be the most impressive Chiefs sim victory I've ever had, because we held them to 10 fucking points. Get a look here. Let's get a look at how bad. Green Bay didn't even make it. Both players of the week they did. So let's see. Who was the star? Actual game ball here. So we threw it. I mean, we shut down Mahomes. Game ball's our defense. We held Patrick Mahomes under 200 yards. We ran the ball well with Josh Jacobs. Had a couple shot plays there. Nothing too crazy. Chris Jones was the guy that took the game over, to be honest with you. So it's just, an all-out defensive effort, I suppose, is all we can kind of break that one down to. And year 4 the Raiders with an opportunity to get a check mark. And we need one bad because our last rebuild of the Denver Broncos wasn't out. Did not win a Super Bowl in 5 seasons. So it all starts with an opportunity here. Year 4 to 5, 13-4 Niners, 13-4 Raiders. Where we see the Raiders and the number 4 offense go against the Niners, who don't really have anything going for them. They got takeaways. They force turnovers, but overall, a 22nd ranked defense outside of the top 10 for the offense. They do have 6 picks for Fred Warner. You're going to watch the middle of the field a little bit. But I feel pretty damn confident going into this one. Honestly, that, in a battle of 290 overall squads, we can get this check mark here. Moment of truth. Did we get the X factor? Oh, we did not. That would have been a little rich. Let's be honest. I think we should be counting our blessings, if you are a religious human being out there watching this, that this 69 pick overall ended up having a superstar out the gate, which, I mean, also makes sense. He broke the 40-yard dash record. Those kind of players are special and have been special in the last couple Maddens. But I'm not going to lie. Still would have been pretty damn cool if we would have got the double dev and finished as an X Factor and had that X Factor ability with that 99 speed going into a Super Bowl. But, again, confidence pretty high. You all know the rules. We go to the Super Bowl, we get 3 opportunities. We can hop in on the sticks, which at one point in time, I thought that was going to be automatic that we won the Super Bowl until we did the Broncos rebuild, where I came in 3 times, and I believe we lost that Super Bowl by the other team going for 2, which I full on respect, but it's not automatic. It's like the Phillies, it's the tush push right now. It works until it don't work. But opening drive, man, marching down the field, Michael Penix, known for the deep ball. That was a methodical drive. And I think the fact that as an offense, we can run the ball with Josh Jacobs to control a lot of the clock should bode well. All right, we're going to come in here. They got that kind of shady instant tutty. So I want to try to respond here. We're going to go 4 verts, and we're going to look for Michael Mayer across the middle of the field. Now, he is going to get Fred Warner, but let's watch Hufanga in the middle. Oh, we got to get him. We got to get him. Floated in over Dre Greenlaw. Touchdown, Michael Mayer. Extra point pending. This should be a tie ball game going into the second half. We still have 2 more opportunities we can cash in if we need to. Another instant touchdown for the Niners. Just 75-yard plus tutties. 2 of them. So we need to tighten that up, man. We got to stop letting them get the home run. We got Mayer, Jacobs, Lynch. Go to Y here. We go to Xavier Worthy. I think we can finish this one. I think the sim can finish this one off for me, right? Come on, fellas. Give me the touchdown. We do. 21. We get the instant touchdown finally. A little bit of luck. I think this is when we need to come in. We're going to cash in here. 4th and 19. We get this. We win the Super Bowl. I'm going to drop back into coverage with Bonds, our 2nd round pick. You got nothing. You got nothing. There's no checkdowns there for Purdy. It's over. It's over. Get me out of here. Year 4 Super Bowl. That means check mark in the old list here for the Raiders, which means the Broncos. I kind of did it by division in my little notebook there. The Broncos still the only team with an X. Michael Penix gets his Super Bowl. Everyone's stoked. We still got 1 more year to try to turn this into a little bit of a dynasty. Brock Purdy dapping him up, saying, man, I couldn't manage this game all the way to a Super Bowl. I might see you guys again next year. Michael Penix. That is the man. Hey, could happen. I can see the Raiders pull the trigger on him. Michael Penix probably sneaking in the 1st round, right? Raiders going to pick in that purgatory between 10 and 20. There could be a Michael Penix on his way to Las Vegas to play with Antonio Pierce and bring the Vegas Raiders a Super Bowl. And we just saw firsthand here in Madden. It could happen. It could work. There could be a winning combo. And honestly, he's probably getting MVP, even though Josh Jacobs almost got 150 yards rushing. You're probably giving it to Michael Penix. 71% completion percentage, 270 yards, 3 tuds. And we got 1 more year to try to get and stack a 2nd one. Go to free agency. It's actually a really nice free agency if we had certain needs that lined up. Jalen Carter, Aiden Hutchinson, Jalen Ramsey all look pretty damn good. We just don't have the kind of budget, I think, to go that far. because we have needs. We need corner, we need wide receiver, we need linebacker, and of course, wide receiver and linebacker are our two players are the most reasonable. But corner, that'd be a big get. Terry and Arnold for our secondary. That's probably the big fish that I would love to see. And we get both Arnold and Worthy. I mean, who wouldn't want to join the Super Bowl champions? And it looks like Devon Diablo priced himself out of coming back to the squad, which means we are going to have to draft a linebacker. I need a linebacker, and I need a guard. Now, is there still, like, a veteran guard market? Not great. Like, Ezra Khalil, another one of those deals where, like, our player was the best outgoing. So, yeah, that's where we're going to go. Linebacker, guard, first, second round of this draft. Both those guys are going to be day one starters. No pressure at all, just on the defending Super Bowl champions. Then we need our top two rookies to step up for us. We handled our scouting, and for guard and linebacker, we got two swings here. First round, Darren Page looks pretty good out of Notre Dame. Really impressed with the strength that he's bringing with 39 strength, and he gets elite. He would be my top get. I actually got to go see the most recent mock draft to see if he can fall to us. Some nice linebackers. Even if we have to get into blind pick territory, we got some nice letter grades. We got Connor Christensen. We got Clarence Rossum. We got Keelan Wilson. I think all those guys are going to be good enough to kind of compensate a little bit for the loss of Divine Diablo. Let's see where the most recent mock draft has the good guys going. Do we have a shot at the guard? Do we ever? Okay. All right, we're going to go guard linebacker. Two starters. And I'm more concerned about the linebacker. Make sure we get the right guy. I feel like elite, first round projected offensive guard. Probably going to be pretty good. I'm going to say like 75 hidden dev. If I had to throw that one out there. But the linebackers can get tricky. Especially when you're blind picking them, because the athletes at linebacker can sometimes lie to you. But Darren Page in the first round here out of Notre Dame. Oh. I mean, at this point, year 5, dev trait does. Oh, then of course, the fucking linebacker that probably looked the best of the bunch goes right before our pick. Sensational. So we got Wilson, who I scouted just to get a little more information, because athletically speaking, third in the 40-yard dash. He had great vert, good greats all across the board. The zone coverage could be a little better. Or we have Rossum, who has the A zone, which is usually fairly well. The D block shed, not that much of a concern. But look, we get the elite athletic profile for Rossum. That got to be our guy. All right, you know what? I'm not going to accept that. I'm going to get this pick from the goddamn Rams. You're not going to lie to me like that, game. I'll give you... sure, give you that one. 2 future seconds. Don't care. Don't care. We're not going that far. You are not telling me that a linebacker that looks like he is going to be an elite, can't-miss player is a goddamn normal dev, okay? That's just straight up dish. I'm going to get the other guy that I scouted. Keelan Wilson. There we go. Finally a goddamn dev trait. Dev traits weren't good. I think the ratings will be better than the dev. That's usually how it goes. You get a good player. Look at that. So Darren Page in the first round, 77 normal dev. At 77, that's a great starting point for a rookie. Then our swings at linebacker. Rossum, 72 normal. Keelan Wilson, who in almost every metric did not look better than Rossum, is 2 overall points better and has a dev trait. Linebackers can freaking lie to you. We got Joey Tomlinson here. Linebacker out of Alabama, following my board. Just a normal dev. And we got a nice running back here in the 4th round. Thad Phillips out of Arkansas. Last time Raiders got an Arkansas running back was pretty goddamn good. One of the most underrated, at least in the history of Madden. Run DMC Darren McFadden. But hey, we got some nice players here in this draft, even if the dev traits weren't the best. Look at our team going into year 5. This is our Super Bowl winning and now Super Bowl repeating, hopefully, squad, as Page is going to slot right in as the starting right guard. The rest of the offensive line still here. Parham, James, Colton Miller. So for the most, I mean, all homegrown. This has generally been a homegrown rebuild. I think that's been more so, except the fact that lately the last free agency period was the only good-looking one. Every other one was pretty disappointing. So yeah, we have not signed a single free agent, really, on this team, on the offensive side as anyway. And I'm proud about that, because that means we did it the right way. We built it the right way. And even when we found ourselves drafting a 69 overall rookie, turns out to be a big-time player. Shout out to Al Davis. On the defensive side, well, Max Crosby show. He's played himself into making the thumbnail. We'll put it at that point. I was like, all right, we got to put like, you know, Josh Jacobs, or we're going to put Devontae Adams. Nope. It is going to be Max Crosby. He has been the best player in this rebuild. D-line looks great. Linebacking core, we're actually going to go with Wilson as a starter just to maximize that. Dev trade a little bit. Sonny Styles has been incredible, up to a 97 X factor. We actually are starting to see a little progression out of Max Crosby in terms of his base rating. Regression from a 99 down to a 98. Secondary has been generally very good. 97, 91 at safety. Kool-Aid McKinstry is a 94. Nate Hobbs in the 90s. We signed Terrion Arnold in free agency, one of the lone rare free agency signings in this rebuild. And I think that is going to give this team, this defense, enough juice to go repeat. Close out year 5, we stood on business. 14-3. Now, our passing offense was downright terrible again. Very similar to year 3, but everything else elite. Top 3 offense, number 1 defense. This team feels primed to go do dangerous things. Run through Josh Jacobs. You know, even then, at least that's I'll take that. If I'm not going to get gaudy passing, we never really the yards. You always want to see, you know, your quarterback break that 30 threshold. But if I'm getting under 30, I better see something like under 5 or less intercepts. And that's exactly what we got here out of Michael Penix. Offense ran through Josh Jacobs. Almost 1,900 yards rushing, 23 touchdowns. Devontae still 8, which I love to see. Definitely a little bit down on explosive plays. Defensively, Carlos Bonds led the team in tackles. Max Crosby doing Max Crosby things. 10.5 from Tyree Wilson. He's coming on late. If you're doing a Raiders rebuild, you're not seeing it early with Tyree Wilson, just stay with it. He is a late bloomer. Tyleik Williams, 9.5. 6.5 there from Grant Gallery. Interceptions generally haven't been big in this rebuild, but this actually probably our best numbers. 4 picks for Nate Hobbs, 4 for Sonny Styles, 2 for Terrion Arnold. Yeah, that was the missing piece that we needed. Yearly awards. Haven't had the best yearly awards success, but I will take a Super Bowl. This is, no one watches this to see how many times I can win an MVP. They want to see Super Bowls. Josh Jacobs, top 3 in Offensive Player of the Year voting. Max Crosby just outside the top 3. And for the rest of the awards, Josh Jacobs wins Running Back of the Year, which I love to see. And now we get to go and try to defend this Super Bowl crown. And we get to kick our feet up in the opening round of the playoffs to await our opponent in the AFC divisional round. And it is going to be a chance to find out who truly is the best team in the AFC West between 2 quarterbacks that both have only thrown 2 interceptions all year. As the 11-6 Chargers come to Vegas to take on the 14-3 Vegas Raiders. We have the number 6 offense. They have the number 2 offense. We have the number 1 defense. Their defense sucks. That should be the difference. But before we get on this playoff run, as always, let's take a look here at year 5 of what we accomplished here for our squad through the 5 years. Michael Penix on 18,000 yards passing, 144 tutties, the 24 picks. So not ridiculous numbers, not gaudy numbers, but he is protecting the football and getting wins, which is arguably more important. Almost 15,000 yards rushing for Josh Jacobs, 135 rushing touchdowns. I'm probably gonna go see where that stacks up all time. He's probably getting pretty close on those all-time lists. Same with Devontae. Obviously, you can't take full credit here. Did this between us and Green Bay, but 1,200 receptions, almost 17,000 receiving yards on 152 receiving touchdowns. Michael Mayer was really solid for us in this rebuild, but to be honest, it was pretty much the Devontae Adams show, and everyone else was kind of just a role player at that point. Max Crosby was also absolutely insane, finishing, or at least sitting right now. I don't want to say finishing. He probably still got another 5 years left. Over 600 tackles, 161 TFLs, 150 freaking sacks. 46 for Tyree Wilson, 34 for Tyleik Williams. We got 9 picks for Morig, 8 for Sonny Styles, 7 for Hobbs. But I want to go see NFL records. Career receiving and rushing. So for career rushing yards, Josh Jacobs just outside the top 5. I mean, he's still got at least 1-2 more years minimum. So, you know, it's fair to say he would get into the top 5 when all is said and done. As far as rushing touchdowns, he's in the top 3. Probably if we went till he retired, he would finish top 2, right behind Emmitt Smith and pass LT for catches. We got Devontae Adams, top 5 at number 5. Receiving yards, Devontae Adams at number 3. Receiving touchdowns, Devontae Adams at number 4. Only 1 off TO. 100%. He's not, I mean, he actually could retire. He's at that spot, but I think he would probably stick around, run it back, even for like a game next year. Get the first game, get 4 tutties, 5 tutties to get second all time, and then just retire. That would be pretty badass. What about maybe Max Crosby up there, potentially? He is, makes the short list, 150. Head of Aaron Donald, tied with Chris Dolman. Looking at Jabril. How would I even say it? He's my favorite pass rusher, not named Sean Merriman in all-time Madden history. Julius Peppers, the great Julius Peppers, 159. I mean, Max Crosby, you know, we could probably catch Myles Garrett, I would say. At least enter in that race, because obviously everyone else is still there playing right now as they look to eclipse Bruce Smith and the greatest player to ever play football, Reggie White. But very happy with all those numbers, man. Even though, and we had those numbers, they never even really won awards or anything like that for the most part. But all-time legends here on this Raiders team as we gear up to try to get a second Super Bowl. I mean, this game shouldn't be that close, honestly. Offensively, should be a lot of points, but defensively, our defense is elite. Their defense should, not even a playoff caliber defense. And we end up winning 26-18, proving that we are truly the best team in the AFC West. With a player of the week going to Josh Jacobs, 131 yards rushing and a touchdown. It's not common. It's not unusual. It should be the thing. It's not unusual that when we win, Josh Jacobs plays well. And we are on into the conference championship. Super Bowl on the line. Josh Allen still playing pretty decent football. Middle of the mall here for the Bills. 14th offense, 14th defense. We will auto-upgrade our players here real quick just to make sure we have the best possible lineup here as we look to make it a second straight Super Bowl, trying to do what the Atlanta Falcons did earlier in this rebuild, feature back-to-back. Oh, come on, offense. Hey, shout out Max Crosby, gets Defensive Player of the Week. We just couldn't. I mean, Lowe's ugly game. Last year, the playoff run. Ugly games, right? Beat the Chiefs 13-10 or something like that, and then we lose 20-13. When we needed to, I think the fact that when we needed it to, we did not have the passing offense that you probably need to feel comfortable to win the sim. It's always nice having a rushing offense in like the regular season, but I feel like when you are in the playoffs, if you don't have that passing offense, and when you sim, you have a shot. You have a 50-50 shot that your quarterback's going to go for 4 touchdowns. That's just not the way this team was built. You just never freaking know. But for a Michael Penix rebuild, finishes as a 93 superstar, never really an MVP candidate. You know, that is something that, like, I don't want to say I pride myself on, but I think it would be lame if every time we do a realistic rebuild, we end up getting, every time we use a quarterback, be it Caleb Williams, Drake May, Michael Penix, Jaden Daniels. Well, eventually we'll probably have someone with like Bo Nix, Shador Sanders. We did Ken Ewers. I mean, outside, you know, it'd be lame if every one of those quarterbacks ends up being 99 X factors that throw for 50 touchdowns, right? There's different ways the sausage can be made in a Madden 24 franchise mode to go on and win a Super Bowl. And we saw it here with Michael Penix, who, even though, not that they're shaded Bengal, but maybe not the most athletic Michael Penix you'll see in the world, this Michael Penix was able to manage, was able to hand the football off when he needed to, was able to win the Super Bowl MVP when we needed him to. And, yeah, sure, we got the nice boost from having an offensive coordinator that gives him +3 to throw power accuracies. Doesn't even really need it, though. He developed really, really nice, and he was the man that the Raiders needed. Will he need him in real life? We'll have to wait out till April to see if that is potentially a new franchise quarterback for the Raiders. But that'll do it for me here today, guys. Thank you very much for watching a new episode of our Madden 24 Realistic Rebuild series. Let me know in the comment section below what team you guys want to see next. We're still way too early for me to list off who we've yet to do. I'll say, out of the teams that I have remaining, that I think could be the most interesting, Vikings, Panthers, Saints, Falcons, Commanders, Titans, Texans, Steelers, Cardinals, Rams, Seahawks. Plenty of teams. I'm doing all of them. Even we're eventually going to rebuild the Ravens, the Chiefs, the Eagles. Hell, even Philly right now, honestly, with the slide that they're on, could be interesting. Maybe spin things around. Let me know in the comment section below what team you guys want to see next. Thank you very much for watching. As always, your first time stopping by, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button. Until next time, it's your boy C4. Say peace, I love you. Have a good one.